Hey everybody, and welcome to another recap with Dee. I am going to be covering Love and Marriage Huntsville season 4 episode 4, but before we dive into the episode, we are going to turn our attention to this big ass elephant in the room, Curtis. Who the hell is Curtis? I don't know, don't ask me, but for some reason when I look at Louis, I see a Curtis. Someone I personally know texted me and said that I should continue calling him Curtis because he's giving Curtis. But I'm not going to do that. I like Louis for now. And I don't want to give him a nickname just yet. Plus, it was really an honest mistake. Like I said in the comments, I mentioned Carlos, the producer's name, earlier in that video. And when I looked at Louis, I forgot his name for a split second. And he is just not giving me Louis. But his mama named him Louis, so I'm going to call him Louis. Anyway, moving on to the episode. It was spicy. I liked it. Tiffany sitting down with Mel, talking about what happened at Mel's party between her, Stormi, and Kimmy. I think Tiffany is being sensitive, saying that Stormi had a lot of opinions, because I think that's really ironic. Tiffany likes to have a lot of opinions, so she's literally getting a taste of her own medicine. Seems like they cut some of that conversation, some parts of it. It was weird the way they edited. They need to talk to their editor, but that's not my job. That situation really wasn't even that important, so I get it. But I do think what was important was when Tiffany brought up Martell's book signing with the kids. I get the funeral situation with Mel and her family, and you know, Martell only telling her a couple days before. Yes, that was messy too, because I'm sure a children's book signing wouldn't be that unorganized that it's being tossed into the kids' schedule so abruptly. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not in their business like that. Mel still could have told him at the last minute what the situation was, and that the children were not going to be in attendance, because that's a part of being an adult and knowing how to communicate, whether or not the other party does. But you know, Mel is showing me another side of her that I don't want to speak on yet, but you know, she makes it seem as if, you know, Martell just doesn't communicate, or everybody else just doesn't communicate. But that right there was a moment where she had to show the upper hand and just use that form of communication. But I don't want to prejudge. Anyway, moving on. Kimmy and Tisha. When Kimmy said she wouldn't be friends with Tisha outside of her being her sister-in-law, I get that, because trust me, there's a lot of people in my family I wouldn't be friends with. So I really do get what she's saying. But I also get what Tisha is saying about how she's not argumentative, only with family. Now I get that part, because I will argue with you. I will go back and forth with you, especially if I know what I'm talking about. But more so with family and people that I love. Those are the people that can really get me riled up. But people I don't really care about, friends, or just like, you know, distant friends, or people in passing, I'm not gonna go back and forth with you like that. However, Tisha is lying. I like I said, I get where she was coming from. You put a little bit more passion into the people that you love and family or people that are really close to you. But no, Tisha is messy and she aggravating as hell, and she does like to go back and forth with people. The only person she don't go back and forth with is Marsau. Anyway, I'm glad Kimmy brought up Mel's party and Tisha's cousin Kiki being there. That was the right thing to do, because you know Kimmy has always shown her loyalty in this show to anybody she's talking to. She never really went behind somebody's back and talked about them and didn't have to say it, you know, in their presence. You know, she ain't never really been the type to just be shady. I haven't seen that in Kimmy yet, but the show is still going on. We'll see. Going back to, you know, Tisha and her cousin, I think the cousin Kiki she's dead wrong. She is dead wrong. That whole situation, we gonna get to that in a minute. I don't like how Tisha was acting like she ain't know her cousin was at the party. Girl, you knew. You knew she was at the party. You knew she was on the show. Stop it. We're gonna leave that on the table. But anyway, this discussion between Louis, Marsau, and Maurice, there's a lot to unravel here. Marsau's excuses as to why Louis has no right to speak on his marriage is stupid. And the more Marsau talk, he just sounds crazy. Now I get that Louis and Tiffany were very vocal about their marriage, Marsau and Tisha's marriage. Not saying it was right, but what I'm shedding light on is Marsau and his excuses. He's still full of shit. And it's like he always got the right words to sound like he is full of shit. He says on the show, to me it's like being a straight A student. You haven't earned the right to teach nobody. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, because there's always room to grow and learn. Even a child can teach a parent or an adult something that they are ignorant to. You know, you can be a straight A student. The teacher gives you homework, and that student goes home, they do their homework, and they decide to diligently do more research, and they go back to school the next day and they tell their teacher, hey, did you know such and such and such and such? And the teacher says, well, no, I didn't know that. What do you call that, Marsau? The teacher just got taught by the student. But we're going to leave that one on the table. Like I said, Marsau, his excuses as to why Louis shouldn't, you know, speak on his marriage, I think it's all BS. Marsau he really just don't want anybody speaking on his marriage. He has that arrogance about him. He seems like he comes across as if everybody else is less than him. And it's like I'm glad Maurice gave us a hint at Marsau, how he used to be so nice growing up and he has hardened his heart, and then he mentioned the money thing, because I had already thought that, you know how folks are, guys like Marsau who, you know, they're insecure. I noticed some scenes, and there are a few things that I can point out about Marsau that shows his insecurities. I really want to go there. I really want to point it out, because there's 3 things I can point out about Marsau and how he is very, very insecure. But back to the scene and how Maurice talked about their childhood growing up and how he was really nice and how maybe the money has changed him. Listen, insecure men, those type of men, when they get money, they become assholes. And that's just what it is. But moving on to Marsau and this apology issue, I think I mentioned in the last video about, you know, this whole thing he has with apologies. I noticed how he was so headstrong on getting an apology from Louis, but, you know, he was more indifferent to, you know, giving that apology back. And I'm glad Maurice pressed him on that. But like I said, Marsau is a narcissist. But I'm glad at the end of the day they were able to patch things over, because that's usually how it goes in these shows. The men are able to agree or agree to disagree. They tend to move right along, and the women just keep shit going and going and going. But whatever, that's neither here nor there. I'm glad they got over it. Moving on, I'm glad Stormi invited Tiff out to see, you know, to see this interaction. Someone in the comments said, you know, Stormi was being messy. And at first I didn't think she was. But after this, to see this scene, Stormi was definitely being messy. They needed to have that sit down. I do want Tiffany to see it for what it is. Stormi bringing up the word transparent and how did that come about. Now, come on, Stormi. I know you don't watch the previous season. You know how it came about. So yes, that is definitely being messy. I didn't like this scene at all. It is what it is. Stormi was acting like she checked out for a minute. You know, she was being very rude from the jump. And it was like Tiffany was catching a little bit, but she wasn't. I don't like it, especially when Stormi was like, I had zoned out for about five sentences ago. Now, see, stuff like that I don't like. I would have got up and walked out. I would have said, girl, go go read a dictionary, because we're not going to do that, because the way you just structured that one sentence alone, I can already tell we will not be able to continue an intellectual conversation, especially when there's a disagreement. Now, I get that Tiffany was rambling. Tiffany was going on, and I get that, but there's a way to do things. I'm glad that they did have this sit down and they did go over some touchy moments, some very sensitive topics. However, I get a funny feeling about this whole situation. I don't like it. They just need to stay away from each other. Stormi is giving some bad vibes. Maybe it's for the show, and that's cool. Tiffany, she came with a positive attitude, and she has an open heart. I think the way that she says things, obviously, you know, we all agree Tiffany needs to learn to be more transparent and less, you know, in people business, you know. But I'm not seeing much of that in this show, in this episode, or in this season. I'm just seeing her being extra sensitive. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Yeah, Tiffany came with a positive attitude, you know, open heart. And then Stormi, she came in with, you know, that look like something stank, and the attitude followed, you know. And I really did not like that. They need to separate. They need to stay away from each other. Anyway, moving on, Tisha and her cousin. I get this feeling with her cousin, you know. Okay, obviously they trying to wiggle the cousin in here on the show. I get that destiny thing again. Like, why are you here? You know, why are you here? I really don't want to see this cousin, but since she is here, I think their previous drama, it doesn't really add any substance to the show. This whole thing was kind of cringy. I don't know, it's just something about it, because Tisha and Kiki, they look exactly alike, they talk alike, they act alike, and it's something about that high pitch that high-pitched rap voice that seems like an Alabama thing. It just bothers me a little bit. But anyway, moving on. Tisha and Kiki, yeah, they got that high-pitched voice thing real bad, and it aggravates my soul. So I would love it if they can wiggle this cousin right back out of the show. That's enough. Their issue with putting each other's business out there, I get it, you know, that's wrong. I really still could have gone without this scene, without these two and their drama. But they are both wrong. At the end of the day, since we're going to talk about it, since they're on the show, they're both wrong. Tisha describing why she put Kiki business out there, you know, trying to give insight to Mel and Martell on who was coming in their house. You can tell somebody who's coming in their house without exposing their business, especially that's your cousin. But that happened 4 years ago. She said she apologized and Kiki forgave her. And if that's the case, we all know this is just for the show. It's just for the show. Now, moving into the show, Kiki putting, you know, Tisha's business out there. Don't like it. It was wrong. It was shady. Move on. Now, I love the way Kiki rolled up on Tisha talking about her again. I can't wait to see that unfold on the next episode. Like I said, this episode was definitely spicy. I liked it. I enjoyed it. That's my review on Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 4, Episode 4. If you have been keeping up with my channel, then you know, or you may not know, I have been keeping up with Candy and the Gang. I know I have not posted in a minute about that show, but that is because I decided to put episode 5 and 6 together. So be on the lookout for that video tomorrow afternoon. That's all for now. Make sure you like and subscribe. See you all in the next video.